Girl, you the damn, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending, nothing that's real. She gon' tell you what she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition, stay on a pivot. They be watching, they be plotting, she's so mother.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the E-Spot. I'm your host, Camille Cower, and it has been a while. So I'm like relearning everything. Who knew how much could change in a week? So before we even get started, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me and I sound okay, because you just never know. I just want to make sure before I get too far ahead. Since last time I was on, we were having a lot of technical glitches, and I definitely do not want that with Mr. Marcellus Reynolds, who will be my guest today. I am so excited about having him back. I absolutely loved talking with him before. I don't know if you guys happened to watch the previous one, but he was amazing. Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. So I just want to make sure any comments just to let me know you guys can hear me okay before I bring him in, because honey, he came dressed to impress this time. I came in costume. I was trying to be cool like Mr. Marcellus Reynolds, and it backfires. Oh, there can only be one. That's what I get for trying to imitate. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh my gosh, you look like $1 million. Can we just?
Well, you know, I decided to put on some clothes, to shave my hair, shave my face for you, and then I was like, well, you know what? If I did all that, I might as well put on an outfit.
Well, I'm just going to go on record that I shaved my face today too. But I kind of do that all the time just to be safe. And I just realized it's got
but
your.
You know, if you want, I could throw this outfit off in 2 seconds and put on my bathrobe.
Look, I was like, there's something to this bathrobe, or being known for being the bathrobe king. Like, there's nothing wrong with wearing a bathrobe. Like, seriously, you might have been onto something.
And you know, I'm a fancy one. I've got my bathrobe is all monogrammed and ready.
Mine's not. Mine's not. I have to admit, it was a gift from my father for, I think, my birthday or Christmas. But yeah, no. Okay, everybody says we sound great, and that's all that matters.
I just started actually. A friend of mine, when I first started wearing bathrobes, got mine monogrammed for me, and then ever since then, it's like sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But lately, I've been like the huge monogram boy, because I get them from. Oh God, it's a catalog, and it's really a catalog, and it shoots in like Maine or something. And they do monogramming. So whenever I order a replacement, it takes like 3 days longer to get it monogrammed, and it's like $10 or something extra. So I go ahead and do it.
Yeah, we're going to need to go ahead and get you to send me that link, because that's not that bad of a deal.
Lands End. And the
Lands End. Okay.
On sale. They're always on sale, because Lands End is always doing like 40% off. So I always get them when they're on sale. And then I get the monogram, and the monogram is like $10, and it's like perfect.
See, and the fashion expert has spoken. If you're saying Lands End is the one to get, then Lands End is the one to get, especially at 40% off.
It's a really good weight. It's a really good weight terry cloth. They're always running something on sale. It's always like 40% off. That's the only time I buy them. And there's 2 lengths. There's like a one that's like below the knee, and there's one that's like glorious and all the way almost to the floor. And you get it too big, and you have to wash it a couple of times. The first time before you wear it, you have to wash it like 2 or 3 times to get rid of the lint. Okay. But then once it's like, I call it seasoning. Once it's seasoned and it's ready, then it's ready, and it's glorious.
Well, I believe all your shopping hints, because of you, my library has gotten even larger.
Yes.
Because you've had like all these different wonderful books you've been talking about. So I had to get the new Black Vanguard, of course. And you know the other one I'm going to say.
So good. Oh my God, you got them both.
I did. I was like, I had to complete the collection of Black men doing things for Black women.
Yeah.
Just saying. Like I just loved all the love. I was like, oh, there's more.
Oh my God, there's more. And you know what? I am I'm team everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody black. I'm like Issa Rae. And so a lot of times I talk about this often. I always talk about the concept of onlyness where black people are concerned. Like there's only room for one. You know what I mean? And I hate that. You know, that's something that I've had to confront within myself early in my life, especially when I was modeling, because you always felt like if you went to a casting and you were the only black person, you were like, yes, this is my job. Then when another black guy walked in, you were like, well, is he cuter than me? Is he younger than me? Is he taller than me? Is his body better than me? Blah, blah, blah. And so now you've defeated yourself. You know what I mean? Once you start questioning your worth and your space, you defeated yourself. So often you're in these spaces where there's only space provided for one black person, and then another black person enters. And instead of competing with everybody, you're now only competing with the black person because you feel like they can take something from you. So I've worked really hard in my life to be the one that, like, if another black person walks in, I'm walking up to you and I'm like, welcome. How can we work together? And I'm also trying to be the one that's like, once I'm in the door, I'm trying to open that door, crack that door further open so other people of color, other gay guys, other black women can get in behind me and stand with me, you know, because people are already working against us. So we need to be working together.
100% agree.
And that's why even in this book journey, I'll be honest with you, those two authors don't love on me as much as I love on them. But I'm not doing it from a place of, oh, I'm only doing it because they do it for me. I'm doing it from a place of, these are three black men who wrote black books. You know what I mean? And there's a million books by white authors out there. And there's a limited number of books by black people out there. So if I'm getting any press, I'm sharing the press. I'm sharing my fucking podium. You know what I mean?
Like so commendable, but just like you mentioned, because so few do that. And I mean, it's regretful that they don't do it back, but you can only, in some ways, it's like you set the example of how you want to be treated. And so now they know, like, right. Marcellus is about that life. I'm not going to be
you know, it took a long time to get here. And I'm going to be honest, like, you know, I grew up, I was the black gay kid. And so I was terrorized by black gay boys. Well, not black gay boys. I was the black gay kid terrorized by other little boys. You know what I mean? You grow up black and you grow up gay. And so, you know, everywhere I turned from a very young age, it was like the worst thing you could be as a black person, a black man, is be gay. You know, not be like their quote unquote idea of what a man was. And so when I hit majority, and I was sexually abused by one of my mother's boyfriends who was a black man when I was very, very young. And so I got to this place when I hit majority where I wasn't attracted to black men. You know what I mean? Because all my life, all my familiars had treated me unkindly. They either bullied me, beat me up, chased me home. Then the men in my life then the older men that were supposed to quote unquote protect me were abusive to me because of who I was. So I was in this space of like, well, I don't like other black men because I was almost groomed to think of them as the enemy. Mm-hmm. But then the awakening for me was, I'm a black man. So how can I say that I don't like other black men? What does that say about me loving myself? Exactly. If my journey here is about self-love and evolving, I have to reconcile all the spaces within me, all the labels that are put upon me, and love myself for everything that I am. So it was only when I decided that I'm going to really not listen to those voices from the outside that tell me I'm bad because I'm black, the white voices. I'm not going to listen to the voices from the outside that tell me I'm bad because I'm gay, the white and black voices.
Mm-hmm.
That I began to love myself. And then I had to give everybody else a break. I had to stop thinking of the people that hurt me as monolithic and just think of them as that one particular person, or that those people hurt me. And not everybody that I encounter is going to hurt me. You know,
it's so easy to compartmentalize.
Right.
Like, you know, like, this is the shape that hurt me, so I'll never buy this shape again or go around that shape. Like, it's your own brain, like, trying to protect you from having that same pain again, instead of just trying to figure out how to avoid that pain directly from that person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's what that's the crux of racism. Racism is when you think about an entire group and you assign negative behaviors to that group. You know, that's the core of racism. Right. It's not, I'm going to assign each person individually until when they do something bad to me, these feelings. Mm-hmm. But when you think about them as a whole, it's like, well, all black people are like this. No. All black people, there is no such thing as all black people. We're all individuals. Human beings are each individual. It's only when you lump us together and then you assign negative characteristics to us that you can then think of us, then you become racist, then you become homophobic. But if you think about each person you encounter as a specific individual, you can't hate somebody you don't know, who's never done anything to you. That then is your problem. That is your anger, angst, evil, hate. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know. I'm just on a journey that right now is just, I'm just loving on everybody.
And you're doing an amazing job of it, I might add. I'm curious though, because I feel, I don't know, I've been having all this like thoughts since having a week off and just really reflecting on different things. And I feel like media has such a strong presence in causing some of this drama and stress and trauma that all of us are kind of living under these labels. And I'm curious, because you've worked in the industry for so long, what do you think we can do to change it? Because I mean, other than bringing out beautiful books like that celebrate Black women and all that we've achieved in beauty and so on, but moving beyond that, like, how do we change the stereotypes out there? Because we can't meet every person one by one, but I think media really can change things if we don't give in to the stereotypes, whether it's promoting the homophobic stereotype within the Black community. Granted, I mean, some of us have earned it, not skating past that, but just even with some of the images of Black women, how they always want to portray us as being overly sexualized. And if you have wild hair, then you're a wild and bad, like just the whole thing of it all, where we're just constantly fighting things that we have no idea we're fighting. But at the same time, media would be able to change that narrative that could go beyond the TV or the magazines.
So the reason that I wrote Supreme Models, and the reason that I'm always talking about Antoine's book, The New Black Vanguard, and why I'm talking about Kwame's book, is because as a child, for me, Kwame's book is everything.
I was like, I'm just going to wait till after your interview to open them, because I did not want to get anything confused on who did what, because it's just so much to take in. And all of you guys have not the, they didn't go, I mean, I love Veronica Webb, don't get me wrong, but they didn't go for someone that looks like Veronica Webb in some aspects either. Like,
right.
All of them have medium to dark skinned women on the cover.
For like, that's a testament to the change in the universe right now, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't choose my book cover. Right. Abrams said to me, send us 10 images that you think should be on the cover, right? So I chose like 8 that I were like, perfect. This is it. Any one of these I'm happy with. But when you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it 110%. Like I'm going to go above and beyond. So I was like, I can't just send 8. I'm going to send, they asked for 10. I'm going to send 10. So now I have to, because that's super important. What is the image that's going to sell your book? Mm-hmm. So I had to come up with extra images. So I sent like 11. And the very last one was this beautiful picture of Janelle Williams that ended up on the cover. But in all honesty, she was the darkest girl, the darkest model in that group that I sent. She was the least well-known in that group that I sent because I was sending Naomi and Iman and a wonderful picture of Leah Kabede. And Leah's dark, but she's got like her big curly natural hair, that's all over the place. And she's Ethiopian, so she's got very fine features. And so then when they send me my cover back, and it turns out that they picked one of my favorite photos, definitely, is this Janelle Williams photo. But it was the one that I thought they're never going to pick that photo because it's a really dark woman, clearly African, even though Janelle's from Jamaica, and she's got no hair to speak of. And so when Abrams chose that photo, and they literally sent the cover to me like this. They chose the cover, they put the artwork, they put the print on it, they put Veronica's name on the bottom and my name, and they sent me the actual mock-up of the cover. I broke into tears because not just because it was the culmination of all my dreams, but I never in a million years thought that they would put like a dark-skinned Black woman with like no hair on the cover or with her natural hair. You know what I mean?
And they did, yeah.
But going back to your first question about the media, one of the reasons why I wrote Supreme Models was because as a child, it was very important to me to see images of Black people. Because I was the kid that ran home from school every day. And when I got home, I watched television. Television was like my outlet, right? And so I would watch a movie and I would look for the Black person in the movie. Or I would watch a television show and I would look for the Black person on in the television, on the television show. Because I was looking for icons. I was looking for mentors. I was looking for other people like me because I needed a space to dream. I needed to feel like if there was a Black firefighter on the show, I could be a firefighter. Right. If there was a Black doctor, I could be a doctor. I wanted those images. And I didn't want the images of the Black pimp like on Beretta or Starsky and Hutch.
Right. Or the criminal always getting arrested.
Right. On channel, back in the day, when you watch the evening news, they always had the Black person in handcuffs. Even when it was a white person that got caught for a crime, they usually showed the white person in court in a suit. But whenever they showed the Black person, he was in handcuffs. And that sends a clear message. That's the media. Yeah. That speaks to what you're talking about with the media. And being this entertainment reporter, I've always had this problem with that too. Because it's like, when I started auditioning for things when I came out here, what you're getting right now is who I am. Right. But I would go into these rooms at E! And at NBC and ABC and auditioning for things. And the notes that I would get was, that's great. You speak well, you're good looking, you know what you're talking about, but can you be bigger? And I learned that when they said bigger, they didn't mean bigger like be louder, be like more, up. They meant be gayer. Because they wanted that stereotypical queen that was snapping his fingers too stick, and they wanted that.
They wanted the in living version, in living color, yeah.
That. Granted, that's a part of me, but I get to choose when I put that on and take that off. Much like blackface, that's gay face. And that's not my normal thing. And if I'm coming in here and I'm talking to you as a fashion professional or as an entertainment reporter, it's less about me being like, hey, girl. And so when she worked that runway, I was like, yes, honey. It's more about me being like, let me explain to you why a couture dress that costs $50,000 costs $50,000. Let me break down the parts of a shoe. Let me break down the parts of a suit. Let me tell you what it's like to be in the atelier at Chanel, because when I was a model, I was there. Let me tell you what it's like to walk for Giorgio Armani, because I can tell you what it's like backstage. Or let me tell you what it's like to style a celebrity, because I've worked with Sharon Stone. So my CV and just my being should have been enough. My truth should have been enough. But when you get into that, you get into, being a gay guy that could also actually even pass as straight fucks with people's idea of what a gay person is. So you've got to give them what they think a gay person is. So you've got to give them the histrionics, the histrionics. You've got to give them the like head bob and the hands, and which to me is not a true representation of what gay men are. I'm a gay man. It should be, that's enough if you know I'm gay. You know, I don't have to act gay to be gay.
Right.
And the same can be said of being black. You shouldn't have to act black to be black. You know what I mean? Or this stereotypical idea of what black is. You know, those kind of things always made me sick. But that's the inherent racism and homophobia that's so entrenched in everyday life that we can't get past. You know, it's like I just interviewed Antoine Sargent, who did the New Black Vanguard. And he talked to me about the all-black Vogue, right? So the 2008 all-black Vogue was this amazing moment in history. Yes, honey.
Who knew I would need that prop? But yes.
It's an amazing moment in history, right? It's like all-black Vogue. But Antoine broke it down in this way that made me want to throw that all-black Vogue out. Because this is what he said. He said, when you look at that magazine, it doesn't stand up to 2018 and 2020, right? Because he started writing his book in 2018. So when you look at the all-black Vogue, you've got the two prevalent stereotypes of the black woman in that entire issue. You've got the black woman who is whitewashed, so she has long, straight hair, or she has a weave, and she has a tiny head because she has more European features. Yeah. So she's got like lighter skin. She's got a thin nose. Her blackness is gone. You know, the only thing black about her may be the fact that her skin is darker, right? But generally,
you can't tell because it's in black and white. But yeah,
right? Can you see? Right. So we've got, that's the image that everybody wants. They want, back then they wanted the like sort of the Europeanized black model. Or you have Cecily Lopez. Or you have the black woman, the black model being overly sexual or being like an animal. You know, she's like, and she's like overly aggressive and she's like, you know, acting like acting out. He can't be like elegant and sophisticated and normal like her white model counterpart. Or ain't an afro in that episode. You know, almost. But
like almost.
But that's Gail O'Neill. That's Gail O'Neill, light skin and naturally curly hair. And so that's the closest you're going to get in that magazine
and
to like
a lot of animal print.
You know,
you're right.
And now is all these dark-skinned girls, and we're seeing all these girls with their natural hair. We're seeing short afros, and we're seeing afros. So when he said that, I was like, oh my God, you know what? You're absolutely right. Because those are always the two stereotypes of black models that are in play historically. But then he said something that was even more important. That's the all-black Vogue, but you couldn't go to those advertisers and you couldn't say, we're doing an all-black Vogue, shoot black advertising for the all-black Vogue. So when you flip through those ads in that magazine, they're all white. And we know, being in fashion, that the real money in that magazine is the advertising. Absolutely. The models that are making the most money in that magazine are the models that are appearing in those ads.
And it takes a long time before you even get to the black part of the magazine. Like, I was so disappointed, honestly. Oh, let me make it close to the camera there. This is all the way in the back, as opposed to
where it starts.
All the advertisements before that.
All the advertisements. You might stumble into like one or two advertisements that have a black girl in it, but for the most part,
She's like the best friend in the back
is going to be typically white people, white women. But what we know is the jobs, the real money as a model is the advertising gig. Mm-hmm. That pays better than the editorial. So when he was saying that, I was like, wow, you just messed up the Black Vogue for me, because that was
I mean, I appreciate it for what it is in 2008, because that was a different time. And I appreciate the fact that they even did this in 2008, and it was well overdue, but they included different ages as well, because they did have Pat Cleveland as well in it. And
that's the one, they had Takara in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so they had different sizes as well.
With the plus one. So it was a great step forward. And what it showed us, because that Vogue sold out like 3 or 4 times, right? They kept having to reprint it. So what that Black Vogue showed us is that it destroyed this myth that Black women on the cover of a magazine don't sell magazines, right? Absolutely. And what it also showed us is that Black people do buy magazines, because that's another argument that we hear. Well, Black people don't buy fashion magazines. Well, we don't buy fashion magazines because you don't put us on the cover and you don't put us inside. So we'll stick with Essence. Thank you very much. But so it destroyed those 2 myths. But I think more importantly, and the thing that's missed is, you did an all-Black Vogue and it sold out 3, maybe 4 times. Why hasn't American Vogue done an all-Black Vogue?
Right.
Why didn't Italian Vogue go, oh, you know what? There is a market for Black models on the cover and Black models inside. Why don't we do this more often than not? Why don't we do another issue that's all Black? Or how about this? We actually integrate more models of color across the board into the magazine.
I mean,
all Black Vogue, and they went right back to business as usual.
Which is so disappointing, because it would have been so easy that they could have had themes with it. Black model, but then do Asian models, Hispanic models, non-binary. Like, there were so many different things they could have done to make it inclusive for so many people to be able to see themselves. And
that was in 2008, and we're still talking about it 12 years later. Mm-hmm. And nobody has done another all-Black issue. And it still hasn't changed where there's more Black women in these issues of any magazines. Mm-hmm. It's a sin and a friggin' shame.
It
when
is.
You got Joan Smalls going on and telling the tea about her experiences of being a Afro-Latina model, there's a problem.
You must be reading my head, because I was just thinking about her and how she offered up half of her salary even to put her money where her mouth is in that sense as well. Like, she really stepped up in that sense as far as explaining why it's a problem, even on her level, that it shouldn't be happening still. And these people really can't keep excusing the frauds that work in the business that shouldn't be working in the business.
You know what's funny is I saw that, and I love Joan Smalls, and she's in the book, and I give her props in the book. She's got she's got a couple of photos and da-da-da-da-da.
She's
but
amazing.
Here's the thing that I felt about when Joan Smalls did it. It's like, Joan, you do it now when there's riots in the street and we're protesting, but you should have done that when you were the #1 model in the world, when you were literally sitting on the top of models.com as the #1. Mm-hmm. That's the moment when you should have called fashion out, not after you've made your money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're on the decline. Should you come out and be like, I applaud her for coming out and taking that hit. Yeah. I get it. I'm happy you did it. But it would have had much more power when you were one of the most powerful people in fashion had you done it.
And I wonder if she just felt like maybe if she did that, it would be the end of her career. Because I think a lot of models are just too scared of losing such a great job. Because I mean, I can't think of.
And you don't want to mess with your money. You know what I mean? It's like the Naomi syndrome. Right. So follow me with this, Camille, because
I love a Naomi ride anytime.
It'll go where it goes.
Okay.
So when I talk to you about the concept of onlyness, like there can only be one.
Mm-hmm.
Naomi Campbell is one of the 3 top models in the world, probably one of the 5 or 6 top models ever. When Naomi was doing her thing, her competition was Linda and Christy Turlington. Linda Evangelista and Christy Turlington. That's it. The 1 and 2 top models ever, with Naomi being number 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps, depending upon who you are.
Right.
But they never talked about Naomi versus Linda. They never talked about Naomi versus Christy. They never talked about Linda versus Christy. They never talked about Claudia versus Cindy Crawford.
No.
There's always space for however many white women walk through the door, but there's only space for one. So when Tyra Banks comes in, now it's Naomi versus Tyra. Well, Naomi's not competing with Tyra because Tyra was not in Naomi's lane. Tyra was a commercial girl that had 1 or 2 good seasons on the runway and as an editorial girl put on weight and then went to do Sports Illustrated. So, and Victoria's Secret. So if Tyra was competing with anybody, she was Miss Commercial. She should have been compared to Cindy Crawford because they both were doing makeup campaigns and contracts.
Workout videos.
They both were doing commercials.
Right.
They both were swimsuit girls. Tyra wasn't an editorial girl. She was barely a runway girl. But you have to put Tyra versus Naomi because there can only be space for one person. And I'll tell you something I discovered while doing this book since I'm telling tales. I talked to a bunch of models that were right there when that whole thing happened. Mm-hmm. And that was not Naomi. Mm-hmm. That was some ish that agents and white men and people in power were doing. That was some stuff that hair and makeup people were gossiping and starting and whispering in each girl's ear and playing them against each other. And unfortunately, those girls let those people manipulate them into hating each other.
Mm-hmm. That's so unfortunate.
That was the stuff that John Casablanca started to control Naomi. Because Naomi was doing what Joan should have done when Naomi was number 1. She was like, look, I'm on this set and I'm not making as much money as Christy is. Why is that? Why is it that Christy and Linda are on the cover of magazines every month and I'm right there with them and I'm not on the cover? So Naomi was calling the power base to their face out. And how do they decide to call her? How do they decide to control her? By spreading nasty rumors about her, by pitting her against other black girls, by making it seem like she was crazy because she was asking for the same respect that you were giving to Christy Turlington and Cindy Crawford and Stephanie Seymour and a bunch of other girls that couldn't carry Naomi's shoes walking down the runway or editorial.
I mean, we can tell by her career who's still working the...
Who's still going.
Yeah. Still working the runway, still working the covers.
And didn't bring anybody to get there.
Can we just talk about...
We could speak on that.
I almost want to know, but I don't want to get dirty with it.
Lisa was dating the president of Elite Paris. Stephanie Seymour was banging John Casablanca when she was barely legal. You never hear about Naomi fucking anybody. If Naomi was banging somebody, she was banging some rich, famous guy that had nothing to do with fashion. She wasn't.
She was on yachts.
She wasn't banging her agent. She was banging Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? She was banging.
You remember the Russian billionaire? She was
the Russian billionaire.
Yeah.
She wasn't fucking to the top. She was there. She was there because she owned it, because she deserved to be there. Don't get me started on the queen, because you know
I'm kind of disgusted by John Casablanca, though. I mean, if she wasn't even legal, that's gross.
Disgusting. And he pushed that mediocre girl to as far as he could get her.
That's so
Not that
disturbing.
Stephanie Seymour didn't deserve to be what she was, but Stephanie's no Naomi. She's no Linda. She's no Christy. She got what she got because of her relationship with John. John pushed the hell out of her. The same with Linda. Linda was a catalog girl from Canada who was about to age out before she ended up in Paris and started dating the president of elite France, Paris. So, you know, those are facts. You can search that shit on the internet. That's just facts. Shit. I just watched part of a documentary where John Casablanca, and I can't remember the name.
What documentary? I love fashion documentaries. Have you seen Versailles 73? That's my favorite as of right now.
Can I tell you, I have not seen Versailles 73, and I feel like...
I didn't know it was like a North Carolina woman who did the documentary. So now I'm trying to find ways to get to her because I'm like, nobody knows her in my circle. Impossible. But I'm going to make it happen.
You know that Ava's supposed to be doing something on Battle of Versailles as well. Ava DuVernay has had a project out there that she's been talking about a really long time. And it's, you know, if Ava does it, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
I read Robin Gavon's book of that the documentary was based upon too.
Okay.
So you know, and then I've had the pleasure of talking to and know some of the divine icons.
I mean, they're only in your book, right?
That are you know that walked in the Battle of Versailles. So
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Girl, I am over here gossiping.
I mean, and I was all like prepared to talk about your experience with reality shows, but also that you're casting them too and wanted to get advice for those that might be interested. But the tea's too good on this side of the table.
We can talk about whatever you want.
Well, no, I mean,
today, so he's like feeling extra.
Look, I want to make sure I find out what documentary you were talking about that you were recently watching, because there is nothing better than a fashion documentary, just for the record.
Oh, it was something I stumbled into in the middle of the night.
Was it on Netflix or something? I can figure it out.
No, honey, it was on YouTube.
Oh.
John Casablanca was talking about the elite look of the elite look. Remember back in the day, it was like the elite model look or something. And he apparently did not get along with the president of Elite in Paris. And he was saying how they were always fighting. And he said that he said something really like sort of like shady about it's fucked up that I have to work with whatever his Gerard something I think was his name, but at least I got the gift that is Linda Evangelista, because the Gerard guy was dating Linda Evangelista, and he and John constantly were battling each other and constantly were butting heads, but at least he still had access to Linda because she was the top model in the world. So it was really
like the real Tupac Biggie drama.
Yeah,
I got your girl.
It was all of that, right?
Everything but the gunshots. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to find that one.
I wasn't mad, you know, because, like, listen, I just went on this tirade about Stephanie banging John. I dated one of my bookers when I was modeling for a minute.
But it was age-appropriate dating, I'm sure.
It was age-appropriate dating.
Yeah.
And we sort of fell into it. And honestly, he never really tried to, he couldn't really help me because I was already bigger than he was, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
When I started dating him, I was already going. You know what I mean?
Right.
So all he was doing was like filling up my chart. And he was my...
I mean, but technically, what do they say? The statistics is like 60% you end up dating who you're around or working with. So, I mean, it's bound to happen whether, I mean, it's just like any other industry, especially when you have beautiful people at your disposal. Come on. You can't, it becomes a dating scene.
I mean, you listen, it is what it is. I dated a booker. I dated one of my bookers. I actually dated the vice president of a very big department store chain that I worked for all the time. But literally, I met him on set, you know what I mean? And I was working for them all the time, and I actually liked him. And I had a daddy thing, you know? Like, you can't, you know, you fall in love with who you fall in love with, but at least we can call a spade, you know?
Right. Just be truthful, and that's all that matters, because it all comes out sooner or later. Somebody does a documentary or a Wikipedia page about you. It all comes out.
I did it. You know, at least I'm sitting here and I'm going to say, I did it. It is what it is. Everybody knows I did it.
You're owning your own narrative by putting it out first.
Owning my own narrative. So what else are we going to talk about, Matt?
You're casting these fun shows. Tell us about it, because maybe someone in the audience would like to try out for it. What are you guys looking for? What is it about? Start from the beginning.
So, right now, I fell back into it because when I first moved to LA, when I got off of Big Brother, because I did Big Brother season 3. And then I went back and did All Stars, which would be season 7. You know, there was this veneer of
just one second. I just realized, since you brought up Big Brother, do you think in any way that prepared you for coronavirus life, as far as being stuck and not being able to go places? Like, at least I can choose who I'm with. And there's no cameras. Unless you know what prepared me for coronavirus
was being a model and living all over the world.
Okay.
Because there's something solitary about being a model, right? When you travel. So when I went to London the first time, I didn't know anybody in London. I didn't know my surroundings. I didn't know the street. I didn't know anything. And so I ended up spending a lot of time in my little bed and breakfast alone, unless I was working. Or then when I went to Paris, and it was like I'd work and then I'd go back to my room because I didn't speak the language. So you learn how to be alone with yourself when you're traveling all over the world. So for me, I'm very happy being by myself. You know, I learned from 24 or however old I was until like 32, how to be alone and how to take care of myself mentally and how to amuse myself. Big Brother taught me not to trust people, unfortunately. I sort of went through my life, you know, once I got to the point where I was an adult and I got out into the world and I began to love myself and sort of take away that narrative that Black is bad or gay is bad. Yeah. And I got into the world, and there were spaces where gay was good. And there were spaces where Black made you exotic, you know, and so Black and gay were good. And I started to believe those narratives instead of the other narratives. I became very trusting because fashion is, even though fashion is kind of racist, there is this thing about fashion where it's very open. You know, you're meeting people from every race, every sexuality, and every nationality, and it's fun, and people, oh, you are so beautiful, oh, you're so, you know, this and that, and it's such a good time that I began to think that that's how the world really was. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when I went into Big Brother, I went into it like that. I went into like, oh, I'm going to meet some really cool people. We're going to get to know each other. It's going to be a fun time. And unfortunately, Big Brother was not the space for that. It was the space for, we're competing for $500,000. I'm going to lie about you. I'm going to lie to you. Mm-hmm. And if I get the chance to throw you out, I'm going to take it. So, you know, I don't talk about Big Brother that often because both times were a really bad experience for me. Right. But I'm going to talk about it today because I'm in that mood. Uh-oh. But yeah, you know, it's supposed to be a reality show, and it's supposed to be like, you know, you get knocked down and you shake it off and you go on with your life. But the lasting effects for me of Big Brother is that I don't trust people the way that I used to trust people. I don't trust. The producers did numbers on me both seasons, and I trusted them. I trusted the house guests. and they did numbers on me. So it wasn't this great experience. Like people often ask, do you still talk to people from Big Brother? I don't talk to any of those motherfuckers because you can't trust any of them as far as you can throw them.
Oh, no. Yeah.
There are maybe a couple. I mean, I still talk to, strangely, the girl that during season 3 stabbed me in the back and got rid of me, that took my ability to trust from me. We're now friends.
Okay.
Because we did the work. You know what I mean? We screamed at each other. We were mad at each other. We told each other how we really felt. And then we kept coming back to each other because we realized that what it was that we did to each other, we needed to heal. And we could only heal if we helped each other fix those broken things. You know what I mean? So I talked to a couple of them, but I don't. But as a rule, I don't mess with any of them. But that said, the moment that Big Brother ended, and I spent like maybe a year or two just going on auditions in LA, and then traveling outside of LA and doing appearances and making a buttload of money doing appearances, because back then there weren't that many reality shows on television. It was like Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race, and then it was the shows on MTV. It was like The Real World and Road Rules. So I would go with a couple of Big Brother people and do things. And Amy from my season, and I stood on a bridge in Nashville or somewhere and not Nashville, where were we? We were someplace deep south. And we did an appearance. It was this public thing. And we made like $5,000 each, just standing on the bridge all day talking to people. It was brilliant. And I was doing college tours with people from the real world. And, you would do like 10, you would be on a bus and you would do 10 colleges and you would make like $2,000 each college. And then I would come home like a stripper. I would come home and drop my checks and money is like onto my bed, shove it all off the bed and under the bed.
Wait, were you doing the angels and the money? I always said I would do that if I ever won the lottery.
Because for the most part, they were checks, but sometimes you would get cash. I was doing things like I was having lunch with like fans, and I would make $1,000 for having lunch, and they would have to pay for lunch. So it was good money. But when I wasn't doing that, and when those appearances slowed down, I started casting. Okay. And I really liked that sort of behind the scenes part of it. And luckily, it was a friend who, like one of the first people I met in LA when I got evicted from Big Brother the first time, lived next door to us. And he was a casting agent. So he was a crazy Big Brother fan. And he was like, well, will you help me? I'm casting this thing. I need an assistant. And I would be like, okay. And so I would go in and I would run the camera while people auditioned. And then I would run lines with if it was an acting thing, I would run lines with them because my major in college was theater and I had taken 1 billion acting classes. So I would run lines with them. And a couple of times while I was running lines, the director would be in the room and they would be like, oh my God, you're really good. And I'd be like, well, I was an acting student. And I got a couple of parts in these stupid shows because I was really good. And I really liked casting. And then I was good at it, I think, because I had been a model and I had been a wannabe actor. So I knew what it was like to be, stressed and crazy, and so I would go out in the casting room and I would talk to the people as they were signing in, and I would sit down next to them and I'd be like, "Are you ready? Did you audition? Do you know your lines?" And I'd be like, "Well, read. Okay, let's real quick. We're gonna read your lines really quick before you go in there." And people liked it and I liked it, and then and it was good. Casting is good money if you can get in there, and so I was casting. I cast a boatload of stuff on the low while I was still trying to be a celebrity stylist, while I was still trying to audition myself. That was how I made my money, because I couldn't go back to waiting tables. I couldn't go get a real job because I was still here pounding, hustling. So I ended up casting. And earlier this year, one of my very good friends, who I introduced to another one of my very good friends, they ended up getting married. Her name is Valerie Penso, and she did Temptation Island. And Temptation Island came out right around the time when Big Brother was out. So we met right after our shows ended, and we would go to events together and go out and hang out together. And we've been friends ever since. She became a casting director. And so she would always be like, well, take a job casting, or this person's hiring, da 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 da. And I had got to the point with it where I was like, no, I'm good, But then this time, earlier this year, she came to me and she's like, look, they're casting Supermarket Sweep. You should cast the show for them, and they know you. Right. And so I talked to the girls from City Media Entertainment, and I was like, I think I want to cast the show. And they were like, what, you? And I was like, yeah. And they think I'm crazy. They think I'll talk to anybody. So they were like, perfect. And so they would literally call me and they would be like, we need firefighters. And I would be like, I'm on it. And I'd be running all over the city to go to different fire departments. And I'd walk into the fire departments with my cards. I'd be like, look, I'm casting Supermarket Sweep. Or they'd be like, we need old people. And I would go to like recreation centers and I would go.
Yeah, I love it. Imagine being at the fire department and Marcellus walks in.
Flyers. And I'm like, I'm casting Supermarket Sweep. Or I would be like, out on the street and I would see somebody and think that they were cute or, whatever, or be shopping. And I would be like, have you ever thought about doing a game show? And, because I'll talk to anybody. And I did a really good job casting. I was a beast casting Supermarket Sweep. It was like I had all these teams and all my teams were getting through to the next level. Yeah. And even if they didn't get through to the next level, they were things that you normally didn't see. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I was casting like bodybuilders and trainers and part-time models that were doctors and dentists. And I called my dental office and I was like, look, girl, I'm casting a show. You know anybody? And my dentist was like, I want to do it. And so I was like, find a partner. And she found a partner that was a dentist. So I had a team that was dentist,
I can't wait for this show to come out. This is going to be a lot of fun.
And so, Supermarket Sweep is iconic. And then I did such a good job with that show that now they're casting a show called Small Fortune, which is a British show that's coming here for the first time. And they asked me to cast that. And this one's been a little bit more challenging because it's teams of 3, unlike Supermarket Sweeps, that was teams of 2. And they really want the 3 people to have a real relationship, like to be close and tight. So we're looking for family members. We're looking for mother, daughter, granddaughter. We're looking for like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Or we're looking for people that have sheltered in place together. So roommates that have been together the whole time, or people that like are out working, but, getting coworkers so that they can all audition together. Okay. So, and apparently I'm doing really well this time. So I just love it. It's natural. It was, I'll talk to anybody. And I mean, this time I couldn't go out and do it. So I've been casting on the internet. I've been sliding into people's DMs on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook.
So it really is him if he slides into your DMs.
Slide into your DMs. It's me. You're not being catfish, darling. It is me.
Now, what are some of the personality types that you're looking for Small Fortune? Like, how can people stand out and make sure they be a part of it?
Here's the thing with casting, right? And here's the thing that I learned with auditioning. You need to be at 150. Everybody wants to be at like 75, 80. We all want to be kind of cool and chic and a little reserved. But the thing that gets you in is when you're like over the top and crazy, but still controlling it. You know what I mean?
So bigger, but not necessarily playing into the stereotypes. Bigger, just bigger. So your personality comes out.
Because we want to think that you're going to get on the show and that the people at home are going to root for you. Mm-hmm. Or the people at home are going to be like, that person's crazy. Or, oh my God, he's so funny. You know what I mean? Because they're going to make that judgment like that. It's a 30-minute show or it's an hour show. And your section is maybe 10, 15 minutes, 20 if you're lucky. So you've got to have that ting that like gets the producer's attention, and hopefully you'll translate to that. Because I keep finding these great teams that are great on paper, and they're great when I talk to them because I'm talking to them like we're talking. Right. But then when they get to the producers, they get very like, reserved. It's like, no, you got to get in there and you got to turn it on. You got to get in there and you got to fight. You got to get in there and like leave it on the floor, Okay. So they're like, wow, this, that was a joyride. That was, a roller coaster. So I'm looking for, it's NBC. So of course we want attractive. It can be any age, 16 to 60. We're looking for grandmothers. We're looking for grandmothers, daughters, and granddaughter. We're looking for families. We're looking for triplets. God, I need a set of triplets. We're looking for twins.
Yeah, I know some twins, but not any triplets.
That's the hardest thing ever. We're looking for just cool groups of friends that have a real connection. Yeah. I'm obsessed with this. I found this. I've been like, there's one night I wanted goth girls. So all of a sudden I found myself in the goth world, and I'm like on these goth sites and goth chat boards and goth and searching goth on Instagram. So I wanted goth girls. I found some goth girls. Then I decided that I wanted an architect, because it's the Small Fortune is it's miniature versions of like historical landmarks. And then there's small games that you play, miniature games. So I thought an architect is used to building things to scale, so they'll be really good at the game. So I went on Facebook and searched architects. So if you had architect in your profile, or there were architect groups, and I sent out emails directly. I slid into people's DMs, and I sent out, group messages to the groups, to the person that runs the group. Can you send out this? Can you send this flyer to your membership? And I found a father who was an architect. His son is in aeronautics, and the daughter is like an aerospace something, and the daughter is in college studying astrophysics. Like, and so when I took them to the producers, they're like, "Bitch, what?" Like. How did you find them? One night I decided I wanted an architect.
And check. Wow.
And I bought in an astrophysicist.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So tell me a little bit more about this game as well. Like, what do they have to do?
So the game is a British game that just that's coming to the United States. The host is Lil Rel Howery, a comedian who's so funny.
Yeah, he was in Get Out. I remember from Get Out. He was the best friend cop.
He was the best friend that knew what was going on in Get Out.
He tried to tell him. Yep, that's the guy.
He was the voice of reason. Don't drink the tea. So it's hosted by him, and basically it's this game show where they do these tiny scale models of like the Taj Mahal or the Louvre or the White House, but they figure out how to get these silly games inside them, and that's how you play. And you play those games inside these like monuments, right? So you're playing things like miniature, like beer pong, or you're playing that game where you're at a bar, you take the pint glass and you slide it to the end, and the person that gets closest to the end of the bar without going over the side of the bar wins. You're playing little games like that, miniature. So it's Small Fortune, but it's big money. The money is really, really good. So it's this fun, frivolous, I don't mind, because I've been describing it as, remember when you were little in that game Operation?
Yes.
Where you take the funny bone out and you had to do all this stuff. To me, it's Operation. And if you hit something, you lose, or you lose money. So it's a really interesting game. I think it's going to be super cute. And it's nighttime. It's, it's an evening game on NBC. So it's a lot of money.
Now, is this a remote game as well? Is this something is it something they're going to do on set? Because I'm curious if they're going to start filming yet.
It's supposed to film in September, October.
Okay.
They're going to and it's filming late, even though it's fall show. It's filming late because they're trying to do it as late as possible to see how the pandemic plays out. The teams will be social distancing, so we're looking for teams that have been together and can play the game together. But Lil Rel will be away. He'll be on his side of the room talking ish, and the crew will be in the back.
Got it.
In masks, away from the players.
Yeah.
And they're not doing a studio audience.
Okay.
So for the first time ever, there's no, you need the studio audience to like know when to laugh or know when to cheer or know when it's supposed to be suspenseful. But there's no studio audience. So that's why you need these players that are going to have to bring it even more because they're interesting. They have to be interesting. They have to lead the action. So
this sounds very exciting. Well, you have a lot going on and we're already at an hour. Why does the time go so fast when you're here?
I don't know why it goes so fast. Because I talk too much.
No, never. Oh my gosh. I'm like, rewind this tape and play it again several times again because I love having you every time, of course. But
the first person that's done it 2 times?
Just you and my dad.
Oh, yeah.
And like my dad, I'm going to have to keep bringing back because every time it's the same. It's like, oh, it's never enough time. But yeah, only you two.
I love that.
And tomorrow I'm having Dr. Tiffany back again because she does like a mental health minute. Okay. I'm having her back because clearly after everything that's been going on, it's nice to have a check-in every once in a while just to make sure we're handling everything.
All right, wait. So do you want to wrap it up or do you want to take
I'm going to wrap it up real quick. Is there anything else that people need to know that you've got going on to look forward to?
Buy the book. Buy my book. Buy the other Black books we talked about. Find me on Instagram and Twitter if you want to do the game show. And I've got some stuff coming up, and I'll come back and I'll talk about that when we're closer to that stuff coming to fruition.
Yay, I got it on tape. He's coming back again.
Coming back again.
I'll take it every time. I appreciate your time so much and all that you have to offer. When we get on, we ended up talking about politics and history of modeling and all the drama of John Casablancas. Like, who knew? I mean, everything was amazing. And of course, the new shows that you're casting as well. So thank you again for being my guest. I can't wait to see what you have coming up next. I know it's going to be fast.
Yeah, I got a couple of things working that out around August.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure I keep several dates open just to be able to pencil you in whenever you're ready.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks again, Marcellus, for being my guest again. And I'll make sure we coordinate wardrobes.
Right.
Because part of me is like, do I text them? Like, no, they'll give away the surprise. And then I had like a shirt on underneath, but
you were dressed up last time and I was in the robe. This time I'm dressed up here in the robe. So next time we're going to coordinate.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and say fabulous.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks again. And you have a great week.
All right. You too, sweetie.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.